Looking for something to read? Well, these are the books that I've written. Hop on down to the description to find the Amazon links for all 4 of them, and keep your eyes open for more in the future. With that said, on to the video. Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am the Omni viewer, and today a trailer was released for the upcoming, highly anticipated animated kaiju movie, Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken. But then we also got a teaser trailer for the animated Skull Island series that Legendary is producing, so I figured you guys would want me to talk about that instead. Now, this is one of those upcoming kaiju projects for which there's been very little information about. Like, it was announced back before Godzilla vs. Kong released, so we knew it was happening, we knew it was at least on the docket, but we didn't really hear much about it for a while. Then we got a teaser image that didn't really tell us much other than Kong was going to be in it, obviously, because it's his footprint on the beach. And after that, it was pretty much radio silence. We got a semi-gradual trickle of information about Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire, and a gradual trickle of information about the Monarch series, Legacy of Monsters. By the way, if you missed it, that's the title of the series, Monarch Legacy of Monsters. And we even got some information about Godzilla Zero, the upcoming Toho movie, at least in as far as it has a release date. But for the Skull Island series, there was nothing, until suddenly there was stuff. We got a poster and we got a teaser. A very short teaser, I don't even think it's 30 seconds long, but it's something. Now, being so short, and being that it's a bunch of rapid-fire short clips and there's only one line of spoken dialogue, we can't really derive that much from it. But I'm going to derive as much as I can. Now, the first thing to notice is that it is entirely 2D animated. It's not hand-drawn, because the days of hand-drawn animation are sadly long behind us, so it's still digital, but it's not doing 3D animation for the monsters like we've seen with pretty much every other kaiju anime as of late. You know what I mean, whether it was fully 3D like the Polygon Trilogy or Gamera Rebirth, or if it had 2D human characters but 3D monsters like Godzilla Singular Point or Gridman. This is looking to be completely 2D animated, which I think is refreshing. I mean, I'm no snob. I think that when the 3D animated monsters are good, they're really good. Like, Gridman is still the standard for me. That's the best one they've done so far. And they looked pretty good in Singular Point, though they didn't always blend that well with the 2D characters. But then you have something like the Polygon Trilogy where the whole thing just looked awful. And even Gamera Rebirth, even though we haven't seen an actual proper episode as yet, the human character designs are still hideous. There's just no getting around that, regardless of how else the series might turn out. Here, though, we've got 2D art, and it looks good so far. In fact, it looks very familiar. One of my first thoughts when I was watching this trailer for the first time was, hey, that looks like Kong the Animated Series. The cartoon that aired back in 2001 and which eventually produced the movie Kong King of Atlantis, which I did an Atomic Roast on. Follow the link if you missed that. I think the art style is not exactly there, but it's oddly similar. Especially when you look at Kong's face, the way his eyes and nose and mouth are drawn, it looks very reminiscent, and so do the human characters. Then again, the original Kong animated series was one of those early 2000s cartoons that was designed to look kind of like anime, so I guess what comes around goes around, or whatever. Anyway, I think the 2D art style is going to be good, at least for providing some variety, because, you know, we've had so many 3D kaiju anime at this point. Throwing in one that's all 2D is going to be a nice refresher. I mean, as long as the show is good, obviously. But what about the actual content? Well, we've already known for a while that it's going to be about people stranded on Skull Island, and based on how Godzilla vs. Kong opens, it's probably going to be set before the events of that movie, probably before the events of King of the Monsters as well. Now, that could mean it's just going to be set at some vague point in the past. Maybe it'll be between Godzilla 2014 and Godzilla King of the Monsters, or it could possibly overwrite Skull Island: The Birth of Kong, depending on when it's set. I don't know at this point, we will see. But we have a bunch of people stranded there somehow. Apparently their ride was destroyed by a giant octopus or squid of some kind. And the series is just going to be about them trying to survive on the island. And of course that means they're going to be in the path of a lot of weird creatures. And the creature design so far, I mean, they seem to be running a wide variety of things. Obviously, Kong is in it, and Kong is meant to look like the MonsterVerse version of Kong, and it translates well enough. It's not like they tried really hard to get the profile exactly right. They take some artistic license to have him look kind of like his own thing, but otherwise he still has identifiable marks like the 3 claw marks across his chest and being perfectly humanoid and stuff. The skull crawlers are back according to the poster, and they got a bit of a redesign with more of a protruding bony ridge down the back. I don't know if that's just one skull crawler, if there are going to be a whole lot of them. They only have one on the poster, obviously. But beyond that, I didn't see a lot of creatures that I would recognize from the movie or from the prequel comics, but they do seem to still be going for that sense that Skull Island in this setting has a wide biodiversity. Because you think in the movies, yes, you had some normal monsters, if you will, monsters that looked like just larger versions of animals, like Kong, like the Meyer squid, kind of the skull crawlers, and that they're basically giant lizards or salamanders according to that RPG thing, but who knows if that's even canon. Then you had perfectly normal animals like deer, but then you had the flora-fauna, these creatures that are like somewhere between plant and animal. The bamboo stalks you're walking between might be the legs of a giant spider. The log you're sitting on might be a big insect. The island in the middle of the marsh is actually the back of a huge ox the size of an elephant. You get the idea. I didn't see anything in the trailer or on the poster that looked like that. But I did see some odd-looking creatures, running the gamut from apparently a giant bulldog, which I have a feeling is going to be sort of the mascot, if you will, the little human companion, because one of the characters is riding it in the trailer, to stuff that looks like sort of weird prehistoric creatures, to things right out of a nightmare, that their mouths open up really wide, and like the vampires in Blade 2. And then, of course, you have just a giant crab. But so they're throwing in a lot of stuff in there. We will see how it all plays out. Beyond that, though, again, this doesn't really tell us that much. It gives us a sense that it's going to be pulse-pounding action. It gives us the information that it's going to be all 2D animated. We know at least some of the creatures that are going to be in there, what they look like anyway. We don't know what they're called. But beyond that, I mean, there's not much you can take out of this trailer. But I think I got as much as I can. Does it look like it'll be good? Well, it doesn't look like it's going to be bad. I mean, when it came to something like Gamera Rebirth, I looked at the trailer for that and I thought, okay, the monster sections look like they're really delivering. The human section, though, yuck. Those are just the way that they tried to render those 2D facial features onto 3D bodies, it just does not look good. The art style for this, however, the Skull Island series, looks good across the board. They at least have the consistency. Still, though, I can't really tell you anything about how the plot seems or how the performances are going to be, because, again, we only get one line, and it's a line that could have been taken from any King Kong movie. So, I mean, based on what we see, I'm not getting any particular red flags just yet. but anything can happen at this point. Hopefully it's going to be good. I don't want it to be bad. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see. But, hey, you can feel free to leave your thoughts down below. Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni Viewer signing off. Thank you all for watching. If you want to see us keep doing what we're doing, you might consider doing all the usual YouTube things, as well as hopping down to the description to find links to DeviantArt, Patreon, Twitter, and links for the different books in the Tales from the Omni Vault universe. Your support is naturally appreciated. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.